Today I want to talk about bodybuilders making money. Back in the day, it used to be that you obviously get your pro card, and then hopefully you get on the magazines, you get on some covers, bodybuilding, competing, and ultimately you maintain your income through that, right? That was the way of doing it. I mean, how do you feel like now versus then? How would you see the transition from how it used to be and how it is right now?
Yeah, back then, there weren't that many opportunities to generate money, and fortunately, a lot of us, we were weeder athletes. So being that we were weeder athletes, that qualified us to get an income from dual entities, Weeder Magazine and Weeder Supplementation. So it was all joined in the force in one, yeah, it was very lucrative, and also based on how well you did each year, Joe would increase your pay. So now magazines don't really pay in terms of money anymore, but they give you exposure to become someone is a sponsorship that they give. But I think it's actually easier now than it was then to generate money because, I remember guys like Aaron Baker, who was number 10, he was top 10 in the world and took second behind me and a lot of other shows. He didn't even have a contract. The man worked 3 jobs, and it wasn't uncommon for guys to work 3 and 4 jobs just to be able to go and compete on stage. I think just this when I was an amateur up until I won the USA in '92. I worked 3 different jobs. I worked security guard at night. I worked at a gas station, and then I worked over at Kmart. I did what I had to do to make money. So I think what makes it easier now is because the internet is prevalent. You don't even have to do anything other than go in and work on your craft of bettering yourself, get a major following, and people are going to come at you offering you money. I'm not even there yet. I have a very small following, and I still get texts and emails about, hey, we want to sponsor you this based on your profile on your Instagram. So imagine these guys who have 1 million and 500,000 and 2 million. They're getting paid off of that. Okay, so that's pretty simple.
But I think the key is that what you just said right now. You have to basically focus on building a following, right? So just bodybuilding in itself is not enough today, right? I mean, you have to bodybuild and put everything in that, but you have to, without the following, basically, if the supplement company, if you say you do get a supplement company and they drop you for whatever reason, you have no contract, no following, you have nothing to depend on. Now you have to go get a job and bodybuild at the same time. You know what I'm saying, right? Would you agree?
Back in my era, no, you didn't get paid for that. You got paid based on what you produced on stage. It's the only way you made money. You can be a hot looking this, that, and the other. If you couldn't get out on stage, you didn't make no money. I mean, one of the greatest examples is people forget about Victor Richards, one of the most muscular, incredible visual sights. People, they freak out from my round and they need to look up Victor Richards and see how freaky this man was because he didn't compete in the IFBB. Because he never competed in Olympia or any of the other major. He could not get a job at Weeder, any of those. It was just based on what you produced on stage. Now, like I said, I think it's just a little bit easier for the guys now to be able to do that. Because no matter what, right, they're going to be about their craft. They're going to train. They're going to get better, right, whether it's on stage or whether they just want to be a personality. All I'm saying is all they have to succeed on is just being a personality and looking great and they encourage a following from that, and they can generate money. So I don't think it's actually harder. I think it's actually easier now because you have so many avenues. I know guys that are making over $15,000 a month just from YouTube. Come on, man, really? And all you're doing is doing the same thing you would be doing in a competition. So,
would you still recommend in today's day and age for specifically, I'm not talking about personality, but actual bodybuilders competing, winning Arnold, winning Olympia, who's serious about being a bodybuilder? Would you still recommend going for that contract with a big supplement company to get a nice payday, so you can actually not just focus on like making money from different sources, but just to get one contract so you can have security and then work towards your goal? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I would definitely suggest it. We were not knowing it back then. It was just normal, but we are highly professional in trying to generate monies. I didn't only settle me, Sean, all the guys who competed back then, Vince Taylor and all that. We didn't only settle on our Weeder contract. We went out and we got clothes endorsements. We went out and we guest posed on a regular all over the world. So that was supplementing coming in as far as our income. And then based on that, I was able to get certain roles in movies just because of my personality and being visual on other genres and stuff like that. But you got to be professional about your craft. Now you have a lot of people who come out with their own training gear, their own clothing and stuff like that. So there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there, but you should take bodybuilding as a business. I got ridiculed my whole career because I said, I always said, hey, listen, I do this for money, not for the love of it or anything else. I do it for the money. If I was a rocket scientist, I'd be building rockets. I wouldn't be a bodybuilder. So I always looked at it as a means to generate money and stuff like that. So I was very serious about it. And you should try to capitalize on your visibility and your marketability as long as possible, because that door will close eventually. And when that door closed, there's no opportunity to reopen it. I'm getting just a rare chance that hardly ever happens to be able to walk back through this door. But normally that don't happen. So man, make that money while you're hot from every avenue possible and stack your chips.
What is a bodybuilder supposed to do when, let's say, you competed, let's say in the 90s or even 2000s, right? And you retired, but you didn't build a following. What are you supposed to do then? Like, go to the gym and be a trainer? Like, what are you supposed to do if you don't have that privilege of having a following? You know what I'm saying? Or build a name for yourself.
Well, I look at it as like we've been to college. We've learned a tool and we walk that tool. So now it's up to that individual to take that degree, all that knowledge that they learned from traveling all over the world, from speaking in front of people, take all those things, mix it up, and then figure out your ingredients that you can take and then move that forward and be able to generate monies from it. But Vlad, just as well as I do, it's not always the prettiest girl who's making all the money. It's the prettiest, smartest girl who's making all the money. The same mentality you had that made you that great competitor, you need to take that same mentality and apply it towards business now.
Generation Iron 2. Coming soon.